Learned a lot. Like I really got the American like mentality more, and basically like my mentality is like mixed because like in Ukraine, if we see a black person, we call them the N-word, and from our side, it's not offensive. Like we.
Where you too, you know what I'm saying? Share kind of back another reaction, man. So everybody hit the what do black people think about white people? Now I ain't gonna say too much. I'm in a college campus. And that's not the reason why I'm not gonna say too much. But like I'm at a college campus. So like hope y'all having a blessed day. Hope y'all staying blessed. Hope y'all staying iconic, man. Let's get into this reaction, man.
A school that was predominantly black when I was growing up. And when I first saw the first white kid, I was like, what is that? You know what I'm saying?
I act differently around people who aren't my race. 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna keep it a bean, bro. I'm gonna answer this shit myself. Listen, is it racist? I don't think it's racist. No, I'm gonna keep it a bean. Yes, yeah, I do. if I'm the only black person walking into an all white room, man, I just get a sense of aura, this aura, bro. It's this aura, man, where you just gotta. It's all wrong, bro. I don't want to sound like that, but it's the truth. Can y'all vouch for me? Please. I'm not the only person. Like you get an aura, bro, when you walk in here. Like, how you doing? You feel me? Like it's a sense of professionalism type shit. You know what I'm saying? It's a sense of professionalism type shit. You know what I'm saying? But like if you damn, it sounds so segregated. But I don't mean it like this. You walk into like a with all black people, bro, you walk in chill type shit. You walk in chill, you feel me? But that's just me, man. I should not be getting kicked out of campus for this shit.
I think the most important thing is just to authentically be yourself, and I don't think being around people who don't look like you should be a reason for you to act any different.
Yeah, for me, I guess it's like within the confines of like the workforce.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, yeah. Whoa. Actually, pause. I still act professional at like a environment who's not my race at a workforce because that's work. You know what I'm saying? But like class, like say you go into class, bro, and you a college class. Nah, I ain't gonna. It's so hard to explain, bro. It's a mental thing, I guess. I don't know. I'm not racist, I swear.
I was thinking code switching.
Because if you show up to a media talking like this, they're like, uneducated, got it. They'll use the slang to sell.
That's what I'm saying. I am not trying to be perceived as an uneducated young fellow, bro. I don't want to do that. Like
the products into tweeting to get the clicks and stuff. But like as soon as a worker's there who's authentically from the area and talking like people from the area, it's like, ooh, we don't like that. You know, because it's always like, well, be yourself until you yourself. And then it's like, ooh, I don't like yourself. Unfortunately, in a lot of the areas of work, it's like you almost have to like lie to these people to be like, I'm a robot. I'll like, you know, I love your company. Yeah. You know, it's sick, but it's like you have to give you know.
True. Like I feel like code switching is one part, but also like there's certain parts in my own community that aren't accepted. That when I'm around different people that look like me, I can express myself differently. Like I feel like if I talk a little proper, sometimes I get a little slack for it from my side of the family. But when I go out into the world, sometimes I like EDC, I like tech music, I like, you know what I'm saying?
See, for me, I feel like it has nothing to do with race. It more has to do with just being professional. Like if I'm at work, then I'm obviously going to be a little more proper, you know, a little bit less slang and all of that, and just more careful with my rhetoric, but I don't think it has to do with race. The only thing I will say is like I work in political media, so I'm on camera a lot, so people already know who I am and what I'm coming with. But that being said, it's like when I'm around other black people, because I'm a Republican, sometimes they tend to be really standoffish with me or think that I don't understand the culture and all this different stuff. So sometimes I have to feel it out, like, are these people who are just gonna call me an Uncle Tom, or are these people like I can actually just keep it all the way real with? So that's the only time I feel like I act different because of race.
You know, I also work in political media, but as a leftist, and I honestly feel like I've definitely benefited from being able to be in spaces where I've been able to be authentically myself, and I definitely think that's a privilege, especially where I like.
That's a talent. She's talented, because it's so hard, bro, to go in a professional environment and they say, oh, you can authentically be yourself, man, or am I just a fucked up person? Is that, bro? Am I just a fucked up person, bro? Because let me,
It's just like something that's regularly happening that people have to go through. But personally, I think I've been able to, especially now in a business side and now my new workplace, I feel like I don't have to adapt my language to make people like respect me or understand where I'm trying to come from, you know?
At what point is it like, damn, we can't even really have conversations without buttoning up and being like, oh, this is how we have to talk like this, because so they'll listen, or like, regardless as.
But do you
people,
think that's racial, or do you think that's?
I don't know that it's because I'm right. I know where you're going.
We've seen you.
I think I know exactly where he's going. I don't think it's intrinsically rooted in race, but I think just the way the social genetic makeup of people are. I think just by way of people of specific races speaking a certain way or being perceived.
Do this nigga forehead look big, or is it just me? Because I feel like my shit is the same length, but I don't think my shit is big. I'll show y'all this, but I don't want y'all to. I'm gonna take it up closely. Hold on, bro. Let me click on this shit. All right, man. I'm gonna show y'all niggas. Bro, wait, nigga. Nigga, last time I looked in the mirror, that shit was not that far. I swear. Why did my shit look that big? Bro, that shit look like I got a 6 head. That shit is crazy. That shit just fucked up my mood. Alright, man. Let's get into this shit again.
A certain way, it tends to be more often than not rooted in race, based off of like urban Black Americans.
Yeah.
I think most people have barriers they put up when they get introduced to a new group. I went on disagree instead of strongly disagree, because like there have been situations where I get introduced to a group of someone of a different race, and like, yeah, at first I'm pulled back, but once I get comfortable with them, those walls come down, and then yeah, that's where my true self comes out.
For me, it really depends, because I've been shooting music videos in the hood, so I really need to basically adopt myself to become a Black person. So for me, it's not a problem like meeting new races. I always like vibe and chill with people.
Did he just say he had to adapt himself to being a Black person? Well, it sounds fucked up, but it's low-key the truth. The way society is, man, you low-key got to do some shit like that. Like, you got to adapt yourself to be your environment. The people who you like, you don't want to be like the outcast type, because then nobody want to be no outcast. Well, I don't give a fuck if I'm an outcast or not, but at the same time, it's like it's not some shit. It's not the first thing you go for. I get what you're saying.
Do you think adapting yourself to those different ethnicities is like something that's required to foster like a successful relationship?
Like, I would say it's really more for your survival, because you know, like, if you are the only white guy on set, and like there's like people with like guns and stuff, and you know, you just really need to like fit in and just be chill with it.
Let me know if I'm tripping or not. Did he just say if he's in a room with a bunch of Black people, it's for survival because he might get shot? That's basically what he said with the guns and shit. And if that's the case, that's cool. I just need to understand it, or what you like. That's a little bad, I ain't gonna lie. Black people, we need to do better, man. My brothers and sisters, we can't be going out like this. People cannot be describing us like this.
Mm-hmm. You're from the Ukraine, right? Do you feel like not having grown up with American culture as a whole, and then especially not growing up with our subcultures, do you feel like that's influenced the way you move when you're moving between our subcultures?
my like mentality is kind of mixed because like from the age of like 13 I really started to learn English. From that I really learned a lot, like I really got the American like mentality more. And basically like my mentality is like mixed because like in Ukraine, if we see a black person, we call them the N-word. And from our side it's not offensive, like we
That's not even funny. I'm scared. Like, if I go into an environment and somebody call me that, I'm not gonna know what to do. And I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh yeah, bro, I'm gonna beat this dude. I'm gonna be on it. I ain't gonna be called it." Bro, imagine you in that situation and somebody call you that, bro. I'm like, thank you. I don't know. I don't know what to say, bro.
say it not from a offensive way, but some people can because you know, like you don't see a black person there.
I can understand that because I went to a school that was predominantly black when I was growing up. And when I first saw the first white kid, I was like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? So, like, it was a white girl with like red hair, and I was like, whoa, I've never seen this before. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I understand that, like, when a white person comes to a predominantly black group, then you're going to try your best to adapt to that, to our culture, to be like, okay, hey, I get along with you. This is my way of like telling you, like, hey, this is, I'm like extending an olive branch, basically. So, yeah.
Personally, not to sound triggered, but I just don't like the notion that you're becoming a black person by pretending to be hood or adopting a hood mentality,
like
because not all black people are hood, not all black people are ghetto. I understand what you're trying to say, and I don't know if it's a language barrier, so I don't want to like come at you like you're saying something racist, but I just really am anti black people being defined as ghetto and hood, because there's a lot of classy black people out there.
Yes, there's a lot of intelligent Afro-Americans out there, and it really like depends on like where you grew up in.
Also, if you are hood and ghetto like me, you can also be all those things too.
White people also experience race-based prejudice.
Since you guys probably don't know, I have lived overseas. I've lived in Asian countries. In Japan, there are certain restaurants and stuff like that that you could walk into. You can see people dining in the restaurant and they're gonna tell you they're closed just because you're white or you're American. So the idea that white people can't really experience racism kind of...
It's not funny. That's actually crazy. I ain't gonna lie. If I walk in there because I'm black, man, and they shut the whole store down, bro, I'm gonna walk out with a tear in my eye. I cannot do that shit. And I don't see how people deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Like
contradicts the very definition of the word, because the definition of racism is prejudice based on one's skin color. White people do experience it, but to a different degree.
While I do think that our white brothers and sisters in Christ can experience racial-based prejudice, I don't want to overlook the nuance of that prejudice, because it's not necessarily rooted in anything systematic or anything that's going to actually have long-term effects, knock on wood, that are going to like debilitate a race or inhibit their chances or possibility of succeeding or being seen as better than POC.
I definitely think it's a non-issue, racism towards white people, especially specifically, I want to, like, in America. I don't think it's something that needs to be highlighted as an issue that is a constant threat to lives, day-to-day well-being, progress and success in life in general, because it's not something that's going to inhibit you, and you don't have to walk out your door and think, I'm about to be attacked, like people of color do every single day.
I do agree that white people haven't been put through centuries of hell like black people were, but prejudice towards white people 100% exists. Like whether it's in TV, if it's in movies, like if you watch predominantly black media, there's a lot of roasting towards white people that if it was the other way around, that would never be acceptable today. Then you go on social media like TikTok and you look up white people are bad. You will see videos where they're attacking white people for things that their ancestors did 200 years ago. There are societal benefits at this point for being a person of color, and that those negatively affect white people. Like if you look at affirmative action, diversity quotas in the workplace, all these different things, they lower the bar for black people, but then increase the bar for white people. However, I think where some of the issue comes is because a lot of marginalized groups and people of color back in the day went through so much worse that it's easy for us to discredit the prejudice that white people now deal with today.
I think like on an individualistic level, like yeah, white people get hate all the time. But I think if you zoom out and you look at the big picture, it's a little bit different. And like talking about like YouTube having, you know, racist content for anyone out there, it's like I would have to go and seek that out versus it like.
I ain't gonna lie. You know, I used to work at a summer camp at a white. I was the only black camp counselor. I used to work there as a camp counselor. The kids was the counselors and shit. One kid just walked up to me and said, "Nigga, what does that mean? What does the?" Keep in mind, this camp counselor had like 50 kids, and like 49 of them was white. And one had walked up to me, they was white, and they had said that shit, and it was the one black kid that told him to say that. And I'm like, don't worry about it, bro. don't even worry about it. You're
like
good.
Coming to me.
But don't say that
versus
again.
Like on Twitter
Against white people?
Yeah, I would have to like look for a video being like, oh, people who hate white people.
I agree.
Like versus like Twitter, I don't have to scroll very long before I see some person making some out-of-pocket comment about
and regulation being lifted so people can see that even more so.
Right.
Absolutely, that's 100% right. And even saying affirmative action, statistically and on paper, white people, white women were benefiting more from affirmative action at colleges than any other demographic. So I also don't think that's fair to say, but I definitely get what you mean. And again, I think the prejudice is still there though.
And I will say that black people do deal with prejudice. I think every demographic deals with prejudice. There are racist people everywhere. Like, I just don't think systemic racism is an issue anymore in today's society, but I do think that there are racist people out there.
I think that there's a really important distinction. Our language is constantly evolving, and you were talking about the definition of racism. Our societal definition has changed to include a systemic part of it. And I completely disagree with this idea that people of color don't have systemic things against them still. Because the fact that we still have the KKK, the fact that we still have these things, and they are in positions of power. As long as that exists, and as long as that's a part of our country's like makeup right now, which it is.
Alright, should be a lawyer. She really should, man. She just shut all these niggas up that was trying to argue, man. I ain't gonna hold you.
And that's our power structure. I don't feel like you can honestly deny systemic racism against the black community, which is why prejudice is so different from racism. I don't think white people can experience racism in this country, but we can experience prejudice based on the societal definitions we now use.
Being sexually unattracted to a race is racist.
I think where the line gets drawn is when if a white male was sitting there swiping and he's just like, I don't like black girls, they're all ugly. They have too big of lips. I think that's where the line gets drawn. But you can't really help what you're attracted to. Like, my fiance is Mexican, and it's like, I like him for who he is, not how he looks.
I think that we are conditioned to be attracted and to respond to people that we grow up and around with. So homogeneously, we grow up with people who look like us. So when you move into dating and things like that, statistically, you're going to be attracted to people that you grew up seeing, right? However, when you are discrediting a certain race for whatever reason based off their ethnicity, meaning everybody who did exist, is existing, and will exist from that race, you are not feeling anything. Cute, I don't control your body or your thoughts, but on one hand, I'm like, let's maybe unpack that. Also, where's my camera? To all the girls that's putting this in their bios, that's none of our business. Stop doing that. Keep that to yourself. We don't want to hear that.
For me, I think that like we're talking about conditioning and how we grew up, right? If you go to like South Africa, for instance, which within some of our lifetimes had apartheid. If you grow up in that, especially as a black person, where you're constantly being mistreated by every single white person, and you're conditioned to be like, white person, no thank you. I don't think that's racist.
I agree, and I did not grow up in South Africa with apartheid.
Yeah.
However, like I said,
used
the
it.
nickname of my town was Clancy. Like a lot of my interactions growing up were incredibly racist, and I'm dating a white guy. So I totally get what you mean. I don't want to discredit black people or anyone who's had those kind of situations, because it's not that they're not dating white people. It's definitely, it's more like they're cautious.
I think you used the perfect word earlier. Is it conditioned or...
This content may be distressing. Bro, I'm thinking it's a part of the show.
I was thinking about it on terms of me being a black woman. I feel like it's a lot different when it is a black woman going into dating someone that is not of their race. I can tell you from my experience with dating Hispanic men, white, whatever, they've only seen Jerry Springer and Maury. So it's like they have a whole different idea of what a black woman is. Like before my husband changed a lot, one of the comments made to me was he was afraid of me going to his house with braids in my hair, because then they would assume that I was a different kind of girl instead of looking at me for who I am.
Crazy.
I have been denied access because of my race.
I can go anywhere, I can sit down anywhere, and I am not going to be denied because of how I look. And I would be ignorant to not admit that.
And I'm gonna counter that with we are justifiably not let into spaces. And our whiteness takes away access to things like powwows. And there's an island in Hawaii that's only for natives or for like safe spaces for Black communities or whatever else. We are justifiably denied access because of our skin.
Period. We love the nuance.
The thing about Hawaii, though,
Yeah.
Hawaii is stolen land. I believe that they have every right to be able to say only we're allowed to go here, because that was theirs. It was literally stolen land that was stolen by white people.
Yes. No, but that's why it's justifiably, it's still denied access.
Yeah.
But it is justifiable, 100%. Don't let me
it's
in.
denied access, but it's justifiable. But it's like in my own day-to-day life, I could go anywhere. I can sit down anywhere. I can go read a book in a library. I can go to Starbucks. People don't fear me because of how I look, and so they don't feel the need to be like, you can't be here.
But like in your day-to-day life, are you being denied access? Like, are you trying to go to that island? That they won't let you? Okay.
Then I think that's a really good question.
Like,
Has it happened? I guess. Because, like,
I
are
would
you
say
seeking those spaces then?
I'm not necessarily seeking them. If I am already aware that this is like, hey, this is for us, not for you. I'm not going to show up and be like, yeah, but like, I'm a cool white person. But there are spaces that we are not allowed, and I think that's okay.
No, it is okay. But if you're not actively seeking to be part of those circles, you're not being denied access to them.
I will agree with that.
Sure, and I can say that maybe those are not the best examples, but like I think especially because my social circles are predominantly people of color, there are definitely things where they're like, where I've had them be like, this is not a conversation for you, and I'm like, okay. I have had those experiences. I'm okay with them. I want to be clear. Like, I think there should be spaces that aren't for me, and that is okay. But they've existed and they've been in my life.
I have just one really specific example. Otherwise, I feel like in general, I'm not denied access because of my race, just in my experience. But I had an ex whose stepfather was wildly racist, like Nazi memorabilia, like just insane individual. And I was never allowed over her house because of him. And the one time that I kind of snuck in, he was staring at me through the window. And I'll never forget that in my life, the way that man was staring at me through the window and then cursed out his kids for having me in the house. That man's now in prison for doing God knows what, but it's where he belongs.
I was looking for funding for my film, and most of them are for colored people, and I totally understand that, and there is like not many that I found that are for like everybody. My mind would be like, you know, damn, I cannot do it, like I cannot apply to it. But from the other side, I understand that the Black community, like, you guys need to get your movies out there.
If anything, I feel like I've been invited too much. You know, I feel like I'm kind of like an undercover agent where I'm like because I talk a certain way or because I present myself a certain way, they assume like, oh, I can say this in front of you.
100%.
And I'm like, what do you say?
Exactly.
You know, I've never really been.
Now I'll say that too. I've been tokenized so many times.
I'm like, I want
that. We have to have you here. We need young Black representation. And I'm like, yes, I'm gonna stay home.
I am proud of my race. 3, 2, 1.
I will go first, and I will stand 10 toes in.
I was just being ironic to say it over there.
Okay, baby. I said, please no. I was here. I cried a little bit.
I'm
I
being
think
messy.
that, like, and I'll just keep it specific to my experience or what I know. As Black Americans, we're pretty much the top culture that gets replicated, referenced. People scoot in and scoot out because they want to seem cool and interesting and stuff. And I think that that's so kind of us to like kind of like be beaten down for so long and be kind of separated from our African roots, create names for ourselves, culture, language around our identities as Black Americans, and have that be a thing that's just reverberating across the globe. I think that's so cute. Can never be replicated, can never be understated, and I love that about it.
That was kind of the start of my like thought process too. Like, just the basis of being torn down so adamantly, so regularly for hundreds of years in law even, like, it is insane that we are here today to even be on camera, to even be in a place with other white people. Like, it is a beautiful thing that we have been able to flourish in such dirt, like literal filth and grime that our ancestors had to go through, and even our grandparents had to go through. Like, in my 8th grade yearbook I saw recently, it said, like, the South will rise again. Like, and this was 2015. So, like, this is such a day-to-day thing, and I am proud to be Black, and it's hard to say that. Like, it was hard to say that as a kid, like, or else I could be called the N-word, I could be reprimanded, and I feel so blessed to even be able to think that.
Everybody needs to be proud of their race and stop this, like, racist bullshit, because, like, you could be green, red, black, white, Hispanic, like, it doesn't matter.
I agree with, like, what you're saying, because my own personal belief is that at the basis of who we are is that we're all just people. We're not a skin tone. But because of those before me, I now have to fight back against the idea that all white people are racist. I remember being in 4th grade and learning about the Holocaust for the first time and saying, I don't want to be German anymore. Meanwhile, my mother's whole family is German. American history, you look at things like slavery, you look at things like Jim Crow laws, segregation. There is so much awful stuff that has happened and is still happening in closeted ways that I cannot be proud of the way that I look.
Yeah, for me, like, I am proud of who I am, like who I grew up to be, like I like who I am. But like, if I were to say I'm a proud white man, like I don't even know what that means. Like, there have been 0 racial hurdles in my life. Now, like, I'm a proud gay man because like I've had to go through shit to get to where I am now. And you know, even to that point, so much of queer culture comes from Black culture, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I want to be proud of the things I've done, the people who I've touched, whose hearts I've opened up. I feel like it's beyond our race. I feel like what it is our experiences that make our light shine through.
Facts.
So that's what I'm proud of.
Talk to me,
actually.
Keisha.
Yeah.
I think that there's a really big difference between being proud to be Black and being proud to be white. So being proud of your culture, beautiful.
Is her name Keisha? I don't know if her name Keisha. If it's not, I deeply apologize.
Thing. Like, be proud to be Ukrainian. I'm proud to be Slavic. The Black community is different, and the reason it's different is because their culture, specifically Black Americans, their culture was stripped away from them when they were brought over here. So then the culture became being Black American. The race became cultural.
I mixed that up.
So
Sorry
So I think that there's a really big difference between, like, I am proud of my people. My people are Slavic versus I am proud of my race. It just gets convoluted because Black Americans, the race has become the culture because the culture was stripped away.
I also think oftentimes when you talk about white pride versus Black pride, oftentimes Black pride is rooted in like love and like perseverance of like culture, customs, language, and things like that. And white pride is,
bruh, this nigga be spitting. This nigga was spitting this whole episode. Go ahead, buddy. I feel you, bro.
often rooted in like Black hate, Latin hate, Asian hate. So I think that's like an interesting nuance to not overlook.
No, and I think that's such an important point. I think there's a difference between like, I'm proud and therefore I'm better versus I am proud of what we have overcome.
Yeah, and then the whole idea of white pride started with people who think the Confederate flag is a personality trait. So how can I be proud of that?
I'm not saying that this applies to any of you, but I meet a lot of white people, particularly white liberals, who will actively say that they're ashamed of being white. And that is wild to me, because how can you look at your past and because, yes, your race did terrible things in the past, but you shouldn't define yourself as that. If anything, you should look at that and reflect.
So do you think white people should be proud to be specifically white?
See, I think that's a really nuanced question when you're white, because I think you guys had the valid point of ethnicity is different, because like white isn't a collective culture in the way that Black is, because Black people have been grouped together and have a similar experience. But like white, like Italian American, you should definitely be proud of being Italian American. You should be proud of being Slavic American. You should be proud of your lineage.
Talk to me.
Say, oh, I'm proud to be white, like, yeah, that has a weird connotation to it because it's not a collective culture. But what I really want to emphasize is that you should not be ashamed of being white in the way that a lot of people are.
I'm sorry for saying Keisha, but he looked like a Carl to me. I'm gonna call him Carl.
Yeah.
Or maybe you should.
Okay.
You probably
At that point, it's on you.
Tight shit. I think that video over. Yeah. Hopefully. Damn. Of course I lag. Man. Alright. Okay. Make sure you stay blessed. Like I said before, bro, I feel like I'm gonna say this for the past next few videos, bro. Just wanna bless y'all niggas, man. I'm not blessed, but I just wanna give y'all this thing, bro. If y'all grinding, man, please. I love saying this shit at the end of the videos. Because I know it's a lot of niggas that want to try to work for their dreams that's not trying today, man. I want to let you know, bro, that you can make that shit happen if you put in the work, bro. Keep on trying, man. I'm telling you, man, it's going to work out for you. Keep on trying, bro. God going to bless you in so many different ways. But if you try it, if you don't try it, it's not going to happen. So what I want you to do, nigga, is stay blessed, stay iconic, man. I'm going to catch you on the next one, bro. Peace. Love in the eyes of the kid that was lost and it turned to a rebel. Mama don't give up on me.